What's up, y'all? It's your girl Jay Renee with Prison Ride Radio. I hope that you're doing well. This afternoon, I have a brother on the phone by the name of Rickey Westbrook. He says that he's wrongfully convicted. So we're going to give him an opportunity to talk about his wrongful conviction, how it went down, and how he ended up behind the G-wall. So let's jump right in. What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Jay. How you?
I'm all right. Thank you for asking. We just gonna jump right into it, bro, because time is of the essence.
Right.
So tell the people a little bit about yourself and where you from.
My name is Rickey Dashun Westbrook. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised. Recently, I was wrongfully convicted from a traffic stop that resulted in me getting a life sentence. My cell phone was located inside of the car. The officers that stopped the car never testified. Not one single officer pulled up and gave any reason for why they stopped their car, which I was a passenger inside of. I filed a motion to the judge, a motion to suppress the evidence that was located, which was my cell phone. The judge abused his discretion and admitted the evidence anyway, without even ruling on the stop. It resulted in my conviction. The evidence was admitted in my trial. I lost trial. On my appeal, my appellate counsel never raised the issue, which the only issue was the stop. I had no one come and said I committed any crime, which is the crime is murder, and no one said I committed it. They found clothing inside the apartment that I was located in, and they tested the DNA. It was 5 people DNA located inside the clothing. None of the DNA was mine. I told the lawyer that I wanted to raise the issue. They never raised the issue. I'm at the habeas corpus stage right now, still fighting. I've located a case called Kazim vs. State, which is right on point with my case, and I have to thank God for that. I've been fighting for a total of 8 years by myself, trying to get out of prison, and I noticed that it was a recent incident involving a traffic stop with the brother from Memphis, and that's what really sparked me to really just push up. And I just want the world to know that I'm also wrongfully convicted from a traffic stop and from the police being crooked. They falsified identifications. I have the report because all over my tattoos, I have a lot of tattoos on my face, my body, and it's all over a black man with tattoos. I can't say this is a racial thing, but I will say I was stereotyped because I have tattoos on my face. I wasn't the only guy that was stopped that day. It was another guy stopped as well. I'm just the only one that resulted in getting a life sentence, life without the possibility of parole plus 5 years.
Okay. So you definitely gave us the extreme abridged version. So we're going to dive back into some of the things so we can give everybody a more clear picture of what was going on. So first and foremost, what were you convicted of?
I was convicted of malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, and possession of firearm with a deadly weapon.
Okay. And you're saying you straight up innocent, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And when it comes to having an alibi, did you have one?
Back then, I was 24 years of age. I didn't even have an alibi. It was just like, I didn't do it. Y'all figure out who did it. One of those type of attitudes. The people that I dealt with, they in the street. So nobody was coming to court testifying, saying I was with them or anything. So it was just really just me.
Okay, so a better question is, there was other things that you was doing and people could vouch for that, but nobody was trying to vouch for that.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so let's go into your phone. I know you said you brought up your telephone. I know it's blowing everybody's mind how someone can get convicted of such crimes and no one ever said that's the guy.
Right.
So like, what is the thing around the cell phone?
All right, so there was some clothing that the suspect wore, and that was similar. Like I had on back then, it's 2015. So I had I wore a hat, like a blue and black type of hat, and it was like a black shirt with some writing on it. It was like a boxing type of club shirt, and basically the suspect had some similar clothing on like that. And so I was telling the police like, "Oh, I see how this looks. That's not me though that did this." And the pictures made it look very incriminating, like I'm the guy who did it. So that played a part on the jury's mind as well. It was a text message that came from the phone that I didn't text, but since it was my phone, they assumed I texted. It said that hat in the trunk, throw it away fast, and then it replied back, said they got pick of you.
Okay. So they looked through your telephone while you was held up on the wherever they pulled you over at?
No, they obtained the warrant. They obtained the warrant, and they did everything properly from that point. The only issue that I had raised before the court was the warrant never listed pictures or videos or any of that inside the warrant. But the officer who was involved went outside the scope of the warrant anyway and just looked through all the personal pictures and decided to just charge me with murder anyway. And yeah, that's how I ended up getting charged with murder.
They had a warrant when they pulled you over?
No, they had a warrant after I sat in interrogation. I was in interrogation for about 8 hours. Okay. Yeah, so after I got pulled over, the officers who put the car over are different from the officers who actually arrested me. I got arrested for criminal trespassing in the same apartment that I was located in. They came to the apartment because they got an anonymous tip that the shooter is somewhere in apartments. So they came around the apartments looking for black people with tattoos in the face. He came to the apartment, knocked on the door. No one answered the door that they told them. I believe it was 975 apartment D. I'm next door to 975 apartment C. So he knocks on the door. I see the officer. We talk. Everything's good. He's like, okay, you have a good day. He walks off. I walk off. I end up going to my homegirl house next door. She said she wanted to get a job inside the apartments because they have a little small convenience store inside of it. So we go to the store. We load up our son, put him in the car. She drives off a little bit. Officers surround the car, pull guns out, snatch me out the car, throw me on the ground, put cuffs on me. I never saw the streets again.
Wow. And when did this happen?
2015, July 14th.
Okay. So after they do that, and they went to one apartment, and then there was no one at that apartment, so they said, well, let me pick this other one.
Right. He did a knock and talk.
Okay. That's something that's legal in your state?
Yes, I believe it is. He was just it's under the tiers that I believe police can do. They can just, ask you questions. They're looking for a murder suspect, so they just want to ask questions.
Okay. Let everybody know the state again so we can make sure we on track.
This is Georgia. Okay. I was convicted in DeKalb County, Georgia.
Okay, DeKalb County. All right, so I know that was like, what the hell's going on? So what happened? You said you got interrogated for 8 hours.
Correct.
What was that? How that was?
Basically, they were asking me questions where my whereabouts was, this, that, and the third. It was like, well, what were you doing in that apartment? Did you know that apartment was vacant? And I advised them that I did not know that the apartment was vacant. My partner had the key to the house. I didn't know it was an abandoned apartment. So he was like, yeah, so we can lock you up for criminal trespass. I'm like, okay, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? So they found some clothing, the same clothing that I'm talking about. They found the clothing in the apartment, and they was like, well, the suspect is a dark-skinned man, and he has tattoos, according to the witnesses, and you have tattoos, and you're dark-skinned, and we found those clothes in the apartment, so you're going to be the murderer. And I'm like, but that's not me. And so they go through the phone. They pull out 4 pictures, and they have 2 from the gas station, and we have 2 inside the phone. So if you look at the ones on my phone, you see I'm not that dark. You see all the tattoos on my face. The one in the gas station, the guy is very dark. You can't even see tattoos. So I'm like, hey, I have piercings in my face and tattoos.
Okay. And piercings, I feel like if I seen somebody with piercings in their face, I feel like that's something I will remember.
Exactly. And they asked the witnesses, and the witnesses, of course, it was just like, yo, I couldn't tell you. I didn't see no piercings. So, when they saw the clothing in the apartment, they charged me with murder before they even did the DNA. About 8 months into me going to trial, well, 2 weeks before I went to trial, because I got tried in 8 months, they tested the DNA. The DNA came back, 5 people DNA located inside of those clothes, and none of them were mine.
Okay. And what did they have to say about that? Or what did your lawyer have to say about that? Was anything said about that?
He said something about it because, like I said, it was 8 months of me going to trial. So I'm going to trial as they're testing the DNA. My lawyer actually got the DNA tested because the state didn't want to use it because it wasn't incriminating. So my lawyer ended up getting it tested and was like, hey, well, what about this? But by that time, I'm in the middle of trial. And so my lawyer was like, well, had we figured this out before we got here, he wouldn't be here. And then, we go into trial, and I guess I don't know if it's the wrong election year or what happened, but, I just got railroaded. I really don't know how to speak about it because it's like...
So your lawyer never presented that to the court?
Yeah, he did. We put it on the record. We put it on record, but they didn't...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, they didn't care. They just didn't care.
They was just like, oh, okay, and kept trucking.
Right.
Okay, I see there. So how do you feel about your counsel? Do you feel like your counsel did the best he could, or what was that situation?
My trial counsel, I believe he did an amazing job because he raised the issues that I can present now. He raised the illegal stop. He had told the judge beforehand, like, hey, the stop is illegal. They just stopped him for no reason. And now we're here, and the judge basically did not care. What I saw, what was very interesting, is when I went to trial, they switched my judge the first day of trial.
Okay, tell us about that.
So I was going to trial, and in the little room where I'm talking to the lawyer, he was like, yeah, Mr. Westbrook, I meant to tell you your judge is not going to be in, Judge Adams. I was like, well, what happened to him? He's like, well, I don't know. He's not going to be here. He has a substitute. And they substituted it with Judge Pegler, a lady named Judge Pegler, and she was a juvenile judge, and I guess she was a substitute for that judge, and she just tried the case, and I lost.
Do you feel like she was fair and impartial?
I feel like she was. I feel like she was because she didn't know anything about my case, so it wasn't like biasness. She was just like, we raised the issue about the stop being illegal and that everything that y'all are doing right now is illegal. And she was like, well, I have nothing to do with that because he already raised that before we got here. And she didn't know that the judge never ruled on the issue itself. He went around the issue. He just said, oh, yeah, they had probable cause to arrest him for criminal trespassing. So the Supreme Court made a note in my case that you can look up and see it online. They're going to note that, hey, y'all can arrest him for criminal trespassing, but the cell phone was in the car.
Okay. I got you. Okay, so tell us about, what you've been doing since 2015 to try to get your freedom, as you've done an appeal and things like that?
Yes, I have. I have done every avenue that I can possibly do. I have wrote Innocence Project. I have wrote Southern Center for Human Rights. I wrote anybody and everybody that I can possibly can to try to help me out in this situation. During my appeal stage, I had a lawyer, Michael Tarleton, but like I said, he failed to raise the issue to the Supreme Court of Georgia. That is the reason that I got denied my appeal. The illegal stop was never raised during my appeal. It was only raised during a motion to suppress and forgot about. And so my people had got me a lawyer named Rodney Zell during my habeas corpus, and I saw that Mr. Zell was actually trying to not raise the issue. He really didn't study my case. I guess I was just another case he didn't care about. It was just like, okay, I got the money. All right, I'm going to raise this. And I'm like, hold up, what about this? And he was like, I don't know about that. So when he finally saw the issue, that's when he was agreeing, like, oh, I see your issue now. But by this time, you just scared me. It's too late. You're fired. And I did it myself.
Okay. So tell us, let everybody know, what exactly are you looking for the people for help, and what do you need? Are you looking for counsel? What do you need from the people? Like, what's the next step?
I need the people to really just understand and help me out in every way possible to get back home where I belong. To be in prison for something that you've never done is a different feeling from just doing something, And I've been sitting here for 8 years praying for help. If counsel can come and truly be on my side and really look at my case to understand that, hey, I'm actually innocent. I want the people to help me get out any type of way, protest, anything, because it's not just about the people that are getting shot down. You have people that are locked up that have not done anything, that the police and the judges are doing crooked to, and we're just sitting here. We're dying off, we're rotting. And so I'm just asking for the people to really assist me any type of way. I'm not picky, any type of way to help me get out of here. I'm fighting by myself. I'm fighting all by myself, and I need help.
How can people get in contact with you if they want to reach out, bro?
I'm at Telfair State Prison, located in Helena, Georgia. I have a Facebook, Dashun Westbrook. You can hit me up on that. My messenger, Dashun Westbrook. My Instagram, Dashun Westbrook. That's the only ways. You can write me at the prison, or hit me up on there. I just need some help.